On a hill in southern Turkey, there is a temple that should not exist. No cities anywhere near it, no roads, just 11,600 years of silence. It was raised by hunter-gatherers, people with no permanent home of their own. Somehow, they organized themselves to haul multi-ton pillars up this hill by rope alone. Building it took hundreds of workers, all fed for weeks at a time. Which is strange. Farming, as far as we know, hadn't been invented yet. And centuries later, the builders buried their own temple on purpose and walked away. Before any of this, the land looked completely different. Wild grass, wandering herds. Small bands followed the animals across this open steppe, carrying everything they owned. They gathered wild wheat by hand, no fields, no planting, just what grew wild. No permanent camps either. They packed up and moved on, the way humans always had. For 200,000 years, this is simply how people lived. Then something changed. Their only tools were flint and bone, no metal ever, anywhere in this story. And yet with stone alone, they quarried multi-ton pillars straight out of bedrock. Then they carved them, a fox precise and deliberate, cut by a steady hand. Then a vulture, wings spread, worked into the stone with the same patience. Some pillars were carved with folded arms, as if the stone itself were a figure. Raised in pairs, facing each other at the center of a completed ring. To move one, they lashed it to a sledge and hauled it up an earth ramp. At dusk, torches lit the finished ring, and people gathered among the stones. And right around this same time, something else was happening just beyond the hill. Wild wheat was being tended by hand, instead of simply gathered and left behind. Communal feasts fed the very crowds who were doing the building, season after season. Herds were being kept close now, instead of just followed across the steppe. Nearby, on a second hill, a related site tells a piece of the same story. Compare the pillars side by side, some grand and elaborate, others plain, almost careless. Because eventually, the grandest rings were deliberately buried, filled in by hand, on purpose. Beside each buried ring, a newer one rose, smaller, simpler than the one before it. Generation after generation, the ambition seemed to shrink, even as the site stayed in use. Oddly, until construction stopped completely and the wind took the hill back for itself. So how do we know any of this? It starts with a shallow trench. For a long moment, this is all there was. One carved head, barely showing. In 1994, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt climbed this same hill, looking for something else. Decades earlier, surveyors had seen these stones and assumed they were nothing. A mistake. Schmidt's team began to dig, and the first pillar top emerged from the soil. Around this whole region, the land was a paradise. Rivers, birds, fruit trees. This is the edge of what we now call the Fertile Crescent, birthplace of farming. Picture the first band of people to ever climb this hill, before any of it existed. Some of these pillars stand over 5 meters tall, carved from single blocks of stone. Multiple rings were built here, each with its own set of carved animals. Raising even one pillar upright took ropes, timber, and dozens of coordinated hands. And afterward, exhausted workers rested in the shade of the very stone they'd raised. Compare wild wheat to early cultivated grain, and the difference is right there in the seed. Not every archaeologist agrees on what this site was. The debate is still very much alive. On the map, this hill sits right at the edge of where farming first began. Basket by basket, rubble and soil were carried up and poured around the pillars. One last gathering, torches lit, before the ring was closed for good. Today, a canopy protects what's left. Underneath it, most of the hill is still unexcavated.